Um, we can write it down. January 6, 2025 will be a hinge date in history. On that day, American democracy will either live or it will die. And if we do not take aggressive steps to ensure that the Democrats control the House of Representatives when we get there, the prognosis, basically, of a republic is going to be grim. It is rare to have advance notice of a monumental moment. Before Pearl Harbor, no one suspected that December 7th would live on in infamy. We cannot predict. We couldn't predict years beforehand that we would celebrate our nation's birth on the 4th of July. Mark 9/11 as a moment to a national tragedy and heroism. Um, yet yet it is now clear that the 6th of January 2025 will join those historic dates. A joint session of the new 120th Congress will meet that day to count the electoral votes from the 2024 election. The House of Representatives should perform its largely symbolic function and certify the will of the voters, naming the winner of the 270 or more electoral votes as the president. That is how it should go, but there is a real chance that it will not happen that way. The GOP could install its own squatter. The House Republicans are now firmly in the grip of a deeply anti-democratic right-wing populism. Almost all have now essentially pledged to support and defend the squatter Donald Trump and Trumpism rather than the Constitution of the United States. They no longer are constrained by once inviolate um the once violate norms. Or sorry, I'm not sure. Inviolate norms or even by observable facts. If these radicals control the House on January 6, 2025, and if a Democrat has won the Electoral College vote, it now seems completely possible that the Republicans will instead confirm their own choice as squatter of the United States. If that happens, the world's greatest democracy will come to an end. The mechanism would be the same as the one that they tried after the 2020 election, invalidating Electoral College votes of certain states that went for Democrats, thereby throwing the election to the vote of the House, which didn't happen. This gambit failed because the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, and the majority of Democrats had blocked it. We will not have that protection in 2025 if the Speaker is the dumbass Kevin McCarthy. He sided with the insurrectionists in January. But wasn't that just a protest vote? If they have power next time, would the House Republicans actually do something so catastrophic? Well, consider it this way, and consider the recent behavior. Almost all have helped spread Trump's big lie about the 2020 election being stolen, which it wasn't, but 2/3 of them took that seditionist protest vote just hours after a violent mob stormed the Capitol, and they basically maimed the police officers, they erected a noose, and desecrated our democracy's most sacred spaces. Only 10 of those Republicans had voted to impeach Trump for inciting this insurrection. They ejected from their leadership Representative Liz Cheney for basically refusing to tell the big lie. They replaced her with the Trump toady, who has supported the ludicrous Arizona recount that involves hunting for Chinese bamboo in the ballots, and they have even begun trying to erase from the communal memory the horror, chaos, death, and destruction of that insurrection, claiming it resembled a normal tourist visit to the Capitol. Yeah, bullshit. So yes, it's easy to predict that a House GOP caucus that remains deeply committed to Trump and his seditionist lies would steal the presidential election if they could. That means that the House elections in 2022 and 2024 are not just battles over the normal political questions like the future of the Biden agenda or the Trump tax cuts, but it's rather our democracy itself will be on the ballot. But with gerrymandering and voter suppression laws sweeping the GOP-held states, winning these races will be tougher than ever. The Democrats of all political stripes must be galvanized to much greater action than normal. We need nothing less than a committee to save the Republic, a coalition of Democrats and democracy-affirming Republicans, and the wealthy must dig deep, providing a huge wall of resources to take on the three essential tasks. First, we must protect at-risk House Democrats from the torrent of GOP lies that cut down so many of their colleagues in 2020. Second, we must help Republicans of goodwill to weaken the GOP House candidates from behind their own lines, with ads aimed at their voters and third-party challengers to spoil the bids of the insurrectionist Republicans. Friendly, we must install the pro-democracy decision-makers in the states by electing secretaries of state and attorney generals to help ensure that Republicans cannot steal the presidential race before it reaches the House. A pillar of the American experiment has been the rock-solid stability of our political system. Despite often deep and angry divisions, nothing has threatened to alter the very nature of our democracy since the Battle of Gettysburg. But the Republic now faces an existential threat, and we know the date now on which the plotters will attempt a coup. The only question is, will we do enough to stop them? But yep, yeah.